Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube. With me I have an expert of IELTS and with him he has an expert of IELTS too, I believe.
Yeah, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. That's what we operate on, that's our
modus operandi. That's how we do it. So we have made a series for you, by the way. You may want to see it on the links up there. And this video is made for those who are stuck in band 5 or 6, that how can you maximize your score?
Is it really being stuck, being between 5 or 6?
Maybe they have taken it twice or thrice and they are not getting more than 6, so they're stuck.
Yeah, we actually have such cases, where students, they try their best, but they cannot move beyond a certain band.
True that.
So what to do in order to improve your proficiency, I suppose? Or,
and this video is for you.
Basically, yeah.
And exactly. If you are stuck, or if you are trying to clear it for the very first time in a very first go, also this is for you.
If you're ambitious,
Yeah. Sir,
so
what would you tell to the lovely audience?
Generally I charge for this sort of stuff, but then again, I guess it's still,
he has his easy pass on the same number on the screen. If you want to donate, I don't mind.
Donate? Okay, but then again, honestly, when we talk about getting that extra bit out of your, test, or basically your preparation, I believe you should prepare your communication skills. Okay. Number one, all right? That is, primarily relevant to your speaking skills or your speaking module, all right? You need to practice, and the best way to practice, if you don't have anyone around you, stand in front of a mirror, talk to yourself. Or if you want to use, some new gadgets and stuff, or everyone is into gadgets these days, right? Grab a phone, record yourself. Keep those questions in front of you from your practice tests and record yourself and see how good you sound to yourself. You don't have to have, someone else judge your score or yourself. If you're not that confident, of course. But if you're open to getting a, second opinion or a third opinion, you could probably share it with some people.
Or come to GSL Pakistan.
That could be done as well.
All right. Actually, while you say the practice part, these days people are, they are biking. Is it a term?
What?
They're riding.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They're riding. And then they are on their motor cars. So it's okay, just have a helmet on your head and just talk loud to yourself. Nobody is listening to you, or nobody's bothered to listen to you.
Perhaps all the gibberish that you can.
Oh yes, or try to have a tinted mirrors or a black mirrors and then talk to yourself loud and clear.
Fair enough.
And do that as well. And the mirror part, of course, is there, or record yourself. As far as I am concerned, I would genuinely say try having some transitional or linking words in your talk so that you could keep intacting, engaging, and lengthening your talk.
I suppose that would really help.
Actually, you see, it has a specific kind of band in your IELTS speaking. Also, it enhances your regular style of speaking. Plus, it would add 2 or 3 phrases in a manner that would be an extensive, intrusive kind of talk. Maybe the examiner wants to listen to.
I'm curious, are you speaking specifically of fillers?
Yeah. And the linkers, of course.
Of course.
So they can be short fillers or long fillers or linkers. So try linking them, and with the help of some common, what do we call? Words.
Expressions, perhaps.
And in grammar we call them something, if you remember.
Lexemes?
No. So yeah, we call them conjunctions.
Of course. How silly of me.
It's all right.
All right.
Let's move on, sir.
I would like to add up to it,
Please
basically. So they, in particular, they help you out, fill those gaps where you feel not so confident, all right? And it's a good way of filling those gaps in your conversation.
No excessive use of them, of course.
Of course.
If you're listing and you have 10 items to list and you say firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, don't do that. Yeah. But generally do that.
Yeah. Keep it natural.
Initialization should be good and ending should be smooth. That's what I would say generally. So how do you think the person or the candidate can utilize the 1 minute in part 2 very well so that they have good outcomes? For example, they have preparation time a minute. So what would be your tip, that one thing you should do to maximize your bands in the next 2 upcoming minutes?
All right, it would be a merger of 2 different things that I would like to highlight. Number 1 is accuracy, number 2 is fluency,
sure.
All right? And one of the things that you have to minus from the equation is being fast, all right? Do not be quick when you're communicating.
Yeah.
By, kind of doing that or, practicing that, you would be able to take up more time, at the same time be more accurate and fluent.
True that. Actually, they are not counting the words.
Precisely.
They're calculating the time.
Exactly.
So
play smart.
the more stretch you give it, the more better it would be. And also in part 2, generally, you see, it is not international English lie testing system, but language testing system, right? So if you could lie, you will think less, you will hesitate less, and eventually you'll be more fluent. Coming to your fluency part, generally. So, for example, it's about a book which I haven't read at all. So what would I do? I would maybe quoting one of the films I have seen, and primarily that was a book or a script, actually.
Technically, yeah, perhaps you could go that way.
So go to your movie sites or think about the visuals you have seen, so you'll be better, talking more about that than thinking about your own life story.
Yeah,
so that's what I would.
This is a tip, which would really work for people with a visual memory, with a strong visual memory. So if you're that kind of person, of course, this would really work for you.
True. Part 3 is generally based upon the opinions, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Can we give some hate speech, or can we talk about some Islamophobic elements, perhaps, or maybe anything which you feel like should be there or avoided? What would be your point on that?
Do not go to the extremes, guys. Do not go to the extremes. In literature, there is this term, in figures of speech, there is this term that is used generally called euphemism. All right?
Yeah.
So be euphemistic in your approach. Try and, if there's something rash that is, that's something that you're about to blurt out, try and refine it. All right? Try and filter it by maybe using a less offensive term, perhaps, and try to be neutral, or try to be, how do I say, do not operate on the extremes.
As you mentioned, euphemism, right? So I would also say that in order to nullify, in order to go more easy, try using double negatives.
Oh, interesting.
For double negatives, it would be slow down the process, and you would be running, and you'd be giving your idea as well. I'm some kind of person, and a kind of person, if I have to say something negative, I would say it, maybe politely, but I would say it. So for example, if I say that this is not necessary, so I would say it's not unnecessary.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so I would go slow. Let me connect myself again. If I have to say this is important, so I can say that this is not unimportant.
So may I assume that what you're trying to tell us is that basically in terms of grammar, go with passive voice?
Kind of, but also it's part of more, I would say, prefixes and a usage of negative prefix, so that it makes it positive. Like basic maths, minus, minus, plus.
Fair enough.
So un and not would make it a +1.
Fair enough.
So that's what I would say. Any specific final tip you would like to give to the aspirers or aspirants?
I believe that would be it from my end. I would like to add up. You said double negatives, all right, etc., etc. Not double negatives.
You call it double negatives. Okay.
Kind of. All right, fair enough. But then again, go with passive voice in your communication, because essentially when we talk about regular day-to-day conversations, you may have noticed that passive voice speech is a bit more stretched.
True.
Quite technically,
Yeah.
And if you want to spend more time on a certain question, try and communicate in passive voice.
They would get a bonus or a coin for the complex structure as well because of this.
Precisely. So your communication would be a bit more refined, or sound a bit more refined.
It's always good to rephrase the questions. It's always good to sprinkle some good advanced vocabulary items. And also, if the bell rings, you're not a bell. Bell in Urdu we call it. You're not a cow that bell rings and you stop, bell rings and you start. Let the bell ring, let the person ask you to stop or start, and it is recorded throughout. If the examiner is not interested to listen to you, ignore him. There is something which is listening to you, and you have an EOR option, inquiry on result option. Then tell that person that I was right and maybe you weren't, right?
Oh,
that's it for the day, sir.
Absolutely. Fun.
It's always fine meeting Mr. Frank in the house.
Appreciate it.
And thank you very much for your time. And if you have any inquiries, we are based at IELTS Islamabad. If you want to move abroad, US, USA, UK, Canada, Australia, we are based at IELTS, and you can meet. And of course, we can help you in your IELTS and flights. God bless you, and God bless GSL Pakistan.
Adios.
Bye-bye.